chapter 6. As always, go under content, open your Cengage textbook. We're in unit 2, chapter 6, lesson 2 through 4. So we need files 6-5, 6-6, and 6-7, and 6-8 today. Hopefully I'll be able to get them all done in time. So lesson 2. All right, so open file 6-5 and save it as flares. So file, not open as. Guess that works. That's not what I meant to do though. Here, open. And then save as flares. Okay, so then there's this whole line of steps here about showing and deleting layers so that you can see how the overlay blending mode works. But it looks like they forgot to put in this water droplet layer, so it doesn't, the effect doesn't really work. So we'll just go ahead. I've got those turned off. We can select them and delete them, both those gradient layers, and then start in step 6. So show the outer bevel and inner bevel layers and target the inner bevel layer. All right. Create a new layer, name it lens flare, and fill it with black. Lens flare. And then you'll need to, if you're not in default colors, press D for default, and your black should be at your foreground. If not, use the toggle to make black the foreground. And then Alt-Delete will fill the layer. Oh, you have to select it, sorry. Alt-Delete will fill the layer. Click Filter from the menu bar, point to Render, then click Lens Flare. So Filter, Render, and Lens Flare. So set the brightness to 100%, mine is, and then click OK. There we go. We have like a camera lens flare. Have y'all ever seen that in pictures? It usually happens by accident, but I guess it's like, you know, it's a vibe now. So we can use it decoratively. All right, so now change the blending mode on the lens flare layer to screen. I'm going to make this bigger. There we go. So have this selected, come over to your blending modes and find screen, which is right here. So it says the black background becomes clear, the underlying type artwork becomes visible. Move the center lens flare artwork over the letter S as shown. So move tool and move it so the little right spot is right at the little sans on the S. Not sans, the serif. Oops. Okay. When you move the lens artwork over the letter S, a line is revealed. So they're talking about this here. So the screen is applied to this layer, but you can still see the black peeking out here from the bottom. Add a levels adjustment layer and clip it into the lens layer. All right. So levels. And then if we want to clip, we hold down Alt and we hover between the two till we get this little symbol and then click so that it's clipped. And then we can go to our properties panel, drag black triangle to 25 and gray to 1.32. The hard line at the bottom is darkened and no longer visible. So you can see that where the flare ends, but it's not as stark as it was before. Okay, so now let's add a hue saturation adjustment layer above the levels adjustment layer, then clip it. So hue saturation, hold down Alt, flip it in, then go back to your properties. So on the properties panel, click colorize and then drag the hue slider to 223 and the saturation to 40. So if you don't click colorize, you will not get to these values. So if you enter 223 and it only goes like 180 or something like that, make sure that you have colorize checked on. Okay, now target the lens flare layer and the two adjustment layers and group them. So hold down Shift, and then we're going to make these a group. And so verify that the group one layer is targeted, and then on the layers panel menu button, click duplicate the group. So layers panel menu and duplicate. And it says click OK. Now drag the group one copy layer down below the outer bevel layer. Beneath it, right? I'm reading that correct, I hope. All right, expand the group one copy layer, target the lens flare layer, scale the lens flare layer artwork to be larger, and position it behind the letter O. All right, so inside here, we'll open this up, target lens flare, and then we're going to scale it. So the way that we're going to do this is by going to free transform. So Control T will open up and allow you to move it around, scale it, whatnot. So move it over here to this O. Then you can hold Shift so that you maintain the circle, make it larger. Okay, so use figure 12 as a guide, create more duplicates of the original group, scale the lens at different sizes, and position them in different areas of the artwork. All right, so on our layers panel, go ahead and make a copy. Let's do duplicate this. Okay, we'll move it like over here. Control T to transform. Put that there. There you go. And you can like rotate and do all that stuff with those as well if you would like. So now save your work. And we are finished with flares. So lesson 3. Adding noise. Oh goodness, it's our favorite file. So open 6-6. Save it as Sharpen and Noise. Okay, so target the ring layer on the layers panel, click select on the menu bar and click select all. So target ring layer and then select all. Now click edit on the menu bar and click copy merged. So edit, copy merged. Copy merge command copies a composite of all visible layers regardless of which layer is which layer is targeted. So it's basically like making a flat copy without layers inside of it. So then click edit and click paste. So edit, paste. A flattened composite of the artwork is pasted. Name the new layer merge overlaid and set its blending mode to overlay. Merge, overlay, and blending mode, overlay. Super bright now. Duplicate merge overlay and hide the merge overlay. And then rename merge the new merge overlay copy, high pass. So duplicate layer. We're going to call it high pass. Okay. We're going to hide this one and we're going to change high pass to normal. And then they want you to zoom in 100%, which I don't have room to do. So I'm just going to zoom in about here. So, okay. So now click filter and point to other and then high pass. So filter, other at the bottom, high pass. Oh goodness. Drag the radius slider all the way to the left till it reads 0.1 and it's all gray. And then drag it so that it reads 3.0. Okay, so now we can see the detail coming through. Click OK, set the layer's blending mode to overlay, then hide and show the layer to see its effect. So OK. All right, set this to overlay. And so now we're going to zoom in a little bit here so we can see. Ooh, I don't know if y'all can see this because the screen's not, super detailed when sharing, but it actually is kind of fuzzy. And then with the high pass overlay, it becomes a lot more sharpened. I know. I'm with you, David. I'm a little bored by this file. We've seen it a few times now. Yeah, ready for new files. Okay, where's the man with the dragon tattoo? Why can't we do this to his file? All right, so add a layer mask to the high pass layer. Click edit on the menu bar and click fill. So we're going to add a layer mask, which is down here. Click edit and click fill. And we're going to choose 50% gray from here. And so make sure that opacity is at 100 if it's not. The mode's going to be set to normal. And then OK. The mask is now filled with 50% gray, therefore the effect is reduced by half. Now paint white in the mask where you want to see more sharpening, and paint black in the layer mask where you want to see less sharpening. So you may want to sharpen the edges here of these leaves. And you may want to, let's see, blur, I don't know, blur a little bit of skin. Imagine it's you in the picture. What would you want to blur? For me, it's always skin. Let's blur that out a little bit. So I don't know if y'all realize what we're doing here yet, but we're creating custom filters. So there's a lot you can do with this, and definitely a lot that you can do currently and sell. So I don't know if y'all are aware that there's a huge market for people out there that don't know how to make filters, and they want to. They want to use them for whatever app that they're playing in, and you can actually sell these. So just so you know, that's what we're learning about. All right, so target the high pass layer and then add a new layer. I'm just assuming that I'm going back into this thumbnail. So yeah, we'll see. If it messes up, we'll see. Okay, so add a new layer. We're gonna name this noise and fill it with 50% gray. So we'll go back up here to edit, fill, 50% gray. Okay. Then we're going to go to filter, point to noise, and add noise. So filter, noise, add noise. Okay, so looks like we are changing our amount to 16, uniform, monochromatic. Make sure our box looks the same, and then click OK. Change your blending mode to overlay. And so not sure if you can see this now, but it is very pixelated, which, you know, makes the image look like it's a little bit older, but it also does some favors in an image like this because you have a collage. Oh man, I have some examples. I'm not going to go dig them out right now, but I have some examples of where people have like tried to Photoshop themselves into a scene. And because the camera resolution was different from their photo and the photo they were trying to superimpose into, you know, it just will never look right. So using something like a noise overlay or whatnot would kind of level the playing field, I guess you could say, so that it looks like everything belongs together, if that makes sense. I might dig up the bad photoshopping file. It's hilarious. People have legit tried to like, I don't know, catfish people. I'm in Europe, look. And it's a very, very clear picture of them and a very like noise heavy picture of whatever they say they're near. So, okay, so let's see. Now save your work and close. So moving on to lesson 4. We have 2 files for this one, I believe. Knowing which blending mode to use. And as you're doing these assignments and you're going through and picking out your blending mode, you got to pass by like a lot of them anyway. Go ahead and just kind of hover. Yes, you're making 5 pennies now, but go ahead and hover over each and just kind of see the effect that they do, because they are neat and interesting. I will say I like using blending modes in Photoshop way better than I do in Illustrator. They make more sense to me in here. So open 6-7, pay David 5 pennies. And target and show the merge overlaid layer. All right, so target, show. And then it says hide. Create a new hue saturation adjustment layer and set its blending mode to overlay. All right. What am I doing? I made a group for some reason. That's not what I meant to do. Undo. Okay, this. Hue saturation, set its blending mode to overlay. See, this is what I'm talking about. You just kind of hover through these. Does that remind you of anything? All right, the result of the overlaying hue, saturation, blending mode is identical to overlaying the merged copy of the artwork. Adding a blending mode to any adjustment layer has the same effect as duplicating the artwork and applying the same blending mode. The great difference is that with the adjustment layer, you have controls available to you to adjust the effect and the blending mode. So it's that, what we call that non-destructive type of change. All right, so file, save. All right, now hide and show the hue saturation adjustment layer. So you can see what it's doing. On the properties panel, drag the saturation slider all the way to negative 100%. And I love that. See, if this were my image, this is what I would do. This is nicely minimizing the pores, getting rid of any sort of like, you know, what do you call it? Mixes in skin tone that you might have, you know, that sort of thing, making you light and bright and young looking. One day you'll be old, you'll appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Desaturated, Evaluate the gritty overlay effect for this image. I missed something. What is it? The overlay blending mode, the effect is somewhat harsh, high contrast, draining color. The grittiness of the noise layer adds to that. Okay. And then they were saying the term desaturated doesn't necessarily mean black and white. It can refer to a reduction in color vibrancy. Evaluate the gritty overlay effect for this image. So if you turn these off and on, which is very hard to see, but it's there. Do you see that? Okay, now drag the saturation slider back to 0. I liked it better. Change the blending mode on the hue saturation layer to soft light. So giving it more natural but vibrant colors here. And then hide and show the layer. Verify hue saturation adjustment is showing, and paint 50% black in the layer to reduce the adjustment by 1/2. All right, so this part for me was a little confusing because, let's see. So if I take my brush and I do what I think I'm supposed to, which is take the opacity down to 50%, I'm painting with black. That's what happened. Now, that makes me think I'm doing it wrong. Does anybody want to weigh in on that? Did anybody do this and why didn't you undo? There we go. So what I think that they're trying to get us to do is maybe go back with that edit fill. And in this, you can do black, and then change the opacity to 50%, and then click OK. So it's now filled with black. It's reduced the effect on the whole image. So I don't know. That's the way that I think that's the way I'm going to do it. We'll see. If anybody knows better, please let me know, because I stared at that for a while. I'm like, I'm not really sure what they're asking me to do here. Okay, and so then save, and you are finished with that file. So now we're going to open 6-8. It's our last file for chapter 6. Get excited. Save as. Designing modes. And y'all, we're about to make somebody's great grandma look super scary. That's just what's about to happen. She's going to be beautiful, then she's going to be scary, and then she's going to have a tan, and then she's not, and then she's going to have like White Walker eyes. It's going to be wild. That's what I'm saying. It gets real concerning. So target the background layer, add hue saturation adjustment, then name the layer sweater. Okay. So target background layer and then add your hue saturation adjustment. And then name that hue saturation adjustment layer sweater. On the properties panel, click colorize and drag your hue slider to 109. Now invert the layer mask and use a soft brush to brush the adjustment into the sweater only. So back here, we're going to select the sweater layer mask, make sure that the little black box is surrounding that one, and then we'll do Control-I to invert. Then we can take our brush. I'm sorry. Let's make sure our foreground color is white because we filled the layer with black. Okay. So we're going to take our brush here and we're just going to brush in this green. I'm not doing a fantastic job, but it's not the worst. Okay. Then it says press and hold Option or Alt, then click Layer Mask to view it. So Alt or Option, click your layer mask. Oh, and you can see it's a little scary. So verify that you didn't miss any spots. I'm using a feathered brush. So mine is not the clearest. So if I want to go back in here, but then again, you know, the sweater has highlights and shadows. So, but this is your time. You can lighten it up. Every time you pass by an area, it gets a little wider. So be careful. There you go. That'll work. All right. And now click the layer thumbnail to return to the image. So this one here on the left. All right. Let's see. How does it look now? Nice and green. Show the other 5 adjustment layers. Let's turn all of these on. And she looks beautiful now. Don't worry, not for long. All right. Target the backdrop layer, change the blending mode to linear burn, and then set the saturation to 90, the lightness to -27. So be careful when you're going through these because it goes through each layer, and I personally miss them. So keep me in order. If I skip one, call me out because it's not on purpose. Linear burn. Where is linear burn? Oh, it's up here. Okay. So we have all our burns right here. Our dodges are here. Our lights are here. There we go. Now it makes more sense. Linear burn. Then our properties panel. Saturation 90. Lightness is negative. 27. Now set the sweater layer to multiply. So select it, click multiply. Saturation 77, lightness -11. Face multiply. See what I mean? It gets scarier. Just wait till those White Walker eyes. Wait till we do the White Walker eyes. It's gonna be crazy. Okay, so face multiply, saturation 82. All right, mouth linear burn. And saturation 55. I don't want to encourage y'all for family meanness, but if you if you do have older pictures of family members and you wanted to, I don't know, change them, you could probably have a lot of fun with this. Okay. Set the eyes to linear burn, saturation 47, lightness 15. So eyes, linear, see, look. Okay. Eyes, linear burn, saturation 47, and lightness 15. Okay. And then the hair. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Hair, multiply, saturation 82, lightness 37. And then your artwork should resemble this. And it does. Check that out. We went from black and white to a nice, colorful picture of someone's great grandmother. File, save. Okay, so now let's experiment with the lightning blending modes. So it says target all 6 layers. So you'll hold shift and then you're going to create a group and you're going to name it darkening modes. Drag the darkening modes group down to the create a new layer button to duplicate it. So you can go into your menu here, or you can drag it down to the plus, which be careful because it's right next to the trash can, and duplicate it. And now it's extra dark. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's creepy. Okay, so rename the new group lightning modes and then hide the darkening mode group. And then hide this. Okay. So now we're going to do the same thing that we did with the darkening, but we're just going to use the lightning modes this time. So expand the lightning modes group, set the sweater layer to color dodge. So sweater, color dodge, set the backdrop, color dodge, and saturation to 70 and lightness to -58. Okay. Face. Oh, goodness. We just put the Mike Myers mask on her. Oh, feels wrong. Okay. Color dodge, saturation 50, lightness negative 29. Okay. Mouth. Color dodge, saturation 73. And lightness negative 6. All right, eyes. Now the eyes are going, oh, no, sorry. There we go. Ah, see, that's what I'm talking about, White Walker eyes. Okay, so eyes, color dodge, saturation 55. And lightness negative 32. And hair, also color dodge. So I'm wondering, I haven't tried it. I'm wondering if you can select multiple layers at once and change their blending mode. We should try that. We'll see. So the hue for the hair, we're changing to 44. Saturation will be 60 and lightness will be 5. And then on the backdrop layer, change the hue to 249. The lightness to negative 35. All right. And there we go. File, save. Okay, let's try this really quick though. Let's see if we select multiple layers. Can we change them all? That would save us a lot of times. Now we still have to go in and enter these like silly values for each one, but changing the color mode all at the same time. Watch, I say that and then they'll all be different. No, it looks like most of them are the same. We'll try that. Okay. So collapse, then duplicate the lightning modes group. Okay. So collapse, duplicate, and we're going to rename it overlay modes. Open it up. Hide the lightning modes. And let's see. So sweater layer is going with linear light. So we'll do that one separately. Let's see. Linear light. Hue 190. And lightness to negative 32. Okay. So now it says backdrop layer will be vivid light, and I can see face and mouth and eyes will also be vivid light. So I'm going to go ahead and do those at once. So eyes, shift, backdrop, and then hold control for face and control for mouth. Okay. And now I'll change all of those to vivid light. Fun. Okay. So now back to that face layer. Lightness will be negative 32. Okay. And then the eyes layer, the lightness will be negative 42. The hair layer will be linear light. So let's grab that, change it to linear light, saturation 49, lightness 24. Okay. And yay, check us out. Sorry. So now save your work, carry on, save. Okay. Using a solid color adjustment with blending modes that affect color. So hide the overlay mode group and show the darkening modes group. All right. So hide and show darkening modes. Create a new solid color adjustment layer at the top of the layers panel above the overlay modes group. So make sure that that is still selected. And then in our layers here, we're looking for solid color, which is at the top. And then in the color picker box, type 5 in the H, and then 80 in saturation, and brightness will be 70. I'm going to click OK. The layer is now filled with the color that we specified. Change the blending mode to hue, which is down here. All right, now change the blending mode color and compare the artwork. So I'm not certain what they mean by change the blending mode color. I'm assuming when you double click that and you pick a different color. So like teal, I don't know. All right. Now change the blending mode saturation. And then here. Oh, change the blending mode to saturation. Sorry, I read that wrong. I thought I was going into the properties panel. Okay, so now it's a saturation. Change the blending mode to luminosity. So that's what that one does. That one's kind of creepy. Change it to linear dodge. So you can see that. Oh, so I wasn't supposed to change the color. I was supposed to change it to color. I see. I wrote that wrong. Okay. Now double click the solid color thumbnail to open the color picker. All right. And drag the hue slider to 150. Okay. And there you go. I don't know what y'all think about it. I like the first one. So like, I thought that one was cool. I don't know. That was my favorite. But either way, save.